Oh, thanks for that.
Hi,
Thanks for
Ian.
being. Hey, man, how are you?
Yeah, good. How are you?
Yeah, good. Sorry about the technical issue there. Someone forgot to press unmute, and it was this
It's
guy.
all good. It's all good.
All right.
It's better that when than having yourself unmuted and thinking you're muted, and then something's happening in the background that you don't want people to hear, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
you're
You're
good.
sitting there. I
You're good.
can't believe. Yeah, I've got a cream for this, and it just keeps whatever. Oh shit.
Ah, exactly.
All right. Thank you very much for taking time out today. Um, we'll zoom through it. We've only got 15 minutes. I know you've got a lot of other stuff to do as well. And of course, the new album, tour, etc., etc. We'll start with you guys were only here like in Australia. You were here like 8 weeks ago at Good Things
Yeah.
Festival. You played the secret show with Amy Shark. How much do you enjoy coming to Australia and you find Australian crowds?
Oh, I absolutely love it. It's one of the things I was probably the most gutted about coming out of COVID was how much the international touring suffered and how long it took us to just start doing that. Of course, for Newfound, specifically, it wasn't just COVID. It was like a 1-2 punch because we had COVID, and right as we started to tour again after COVID here in America, Chad was diagnosed with cancer. And that was another wrench thrown into the whole machine and trying to figure out, how and are we even able to do this and continue to do this? And then after a few years, okay, I think we found out how to do it, even if he can't be present on stage. And then finally, it's like, okay, so how do we bring this outside of America again? So the very long awaited return for us back down under. And you guys did not disappoint. Good things. We knew we heard so many great things, literally, about good things. And we knew it was going to be awesome. And it really was. And of course, the Amy Shark Secret Show was just a little cherry on top of all of that. But yeah, I mean, crowds are always great down here. And we're already trying to plan our next time back. It definitely will not be 8 years. Barring any pandemics or anything, right? So,
Touch wood, fingers crossed. Yeah.
yes.
Um, so are you in Nashville at the moment?
No, I actually leave in about 12 hours from Nashville. I live in South Florida, so behind me is my office, rehearsal studio,
Yeah.
utility room, everything, right? And I was just playing a little earlier. We are playing not a secret show, but it's a very small show. It's a 200 person show
At
in
Grammys.
Nashville on Friday to celebrate the record release. And Chad, he was like, hey, because he doesn't get to often play with us anymore. He's like, hey, let's play a fun set. And of course, everybody's like, yeah, without even like talking about what the set was going to be. Lo and behold, after we finished writing the set of the let's say 20 songs we're playing, half of them we haven't played in over a year, if not more. Not to mention a couple songs off the record we've never played live. So I've been putting in my time, doing my homework. I can't really say I'm ready to leave tomorrow, but I have to.
Yeah, yeah. Because yeah, 'cause obviously, like, I mean, we're Australia, so we're a day ahead. So we'll
Yeah.
use Friday as the concept. So Friday, the album comes out. Friday, you've got, if I'm right, you've got two shows in Nashville on Friday. You've got
Yep.
Grammys and The End. I know I
Yeah.
go to Nashville quite a bit. I go every 18 months. I've got friends over there, so I know the areas. But that's where Chad is. And I was going to speak about this because when it came to writing this record, all you guys are down there in South Florida where the weather's lovely. Then you go to Nashville to go and start the writing process. Does that actually add to the chemistry because you haven't seen each other for so long? You go, bang, let's just unload.
Yeah, it was definitely different this time around than records in the past. We did there was an acoustic record that we put out like a few years back, EP if you want to call it, and those songs were written together in Nashville. Those are actually written in the studio together, which was something that we don't often do. Basically, in years past, at least for let's say the majority of Newfound's career, after our first couple records, we were on tour so much that that's where majority of the at least the beginnings of songs would take place. It would be sound checks, it would be the back of the bus, and there wasn't really these like writing sessions. We would just get together with a whole bunch of like random riffs that we had jammed on a week or two before we'd start recording, and we call it pre-production, and we would just kind of arrange everything then and go in the studio. With this time again, Chad's now, he's been diagnosed and fighting cancer for a few years. And of course, his physical health is not where it was before. He can't travel as much. So we carved out about 10, 12 days where it was myself, Ian, and Chad in Nashville in his house, sitting upstairs. He has a loft, and we would just take riffs that he had started. And I grabbed a guitar because I can play guitar as well. And it was myself on guitar, Chad on guitar, and Ian on bass. And we would jam these riffs and put them together in whatever way we felt like. And that's where Ian and I came in. Like, let's, okay, this riff is cool. Let's try this one. Or Chad's like, I really want to put these two together. And I'm like, well, the only way to do that is with this chord. And we put the songs together that way, which we haven't really done too much in the past. And then
Mm.
Jordan wasn't there. You notice I didn't mention him. He was actually in Japan at the time, and that's different. But he had this vacation he'd been planning for years. And again, we can't move Chad's treatments around. And we also really wanted to have a record out by now. Actually, we wanted it last fall, and it didn't work out. So, we had this specific window, but we still got him involved. He gave us a journal of random things he had been writing, and he's not too forward and forthcoming with that stuff. But we're like, look, if you're not going to be there, you got to just be vulnerable and open and do this. And a lot of his lyrics ended up into songs, or there's a song, a love song. Most of that is stuff that Jordan had written. Unorthodox way for us to write this record, but like you said in the question, it did bring us together. There was a sense of urgency and also a sense of kind of professionalism. Like, we know we can do this, and we're going to be able to kind of put these songs together, and we're going to come out with something that we like. And it's true. I mean, we were ready for recording that record, which happened, I think it was about maybe 3 or 4 weeks after that, after those writing sessions. And now you have a final result, finally.
You actually beat me to the punch in there because I wrote about the writing process that you did go on guitar rather than doing drums, and then you were mentioning there about things being put together. Like when I go through the album, one of the songs, "Beer and Bloodstains," as an example, like I reckon that's one of the songs where you had the two riffs that you put together because there's like this great breakdown that happens in the middle. He's all start
You
chatting
got it.
Florida, yeah, and I was like, there you go.
Yeah.
So,
No, that's exactly what happened. I'm sorry to cut you off, but that was we we have the basic song, which is kind of a verse, pre-chorus, chorus. Great, great, great stuff. And then Chad's like, I have this riff, and it's like a really hardcore riff.
yeah.
And I'm like, cool, play it for me. And he played it, and I'm like, how are we gonna make this work? And it's like, well, it doesn't have to be the same timing. It doesn't have to really be the same notes. We could just find some little thing. And we did. There was a little transition.
Yeah.
And some of that again is, having, I think, me on guitar, where Chad's like, okay, cool, try to play this and I'll try to write something over it. Or every now and then I was like, let's try this chord. And he's like, oh, I would have never thought of that chord. And it's like, okay, well, let's try it. It's going to be weird, but let's see if it works. And it did. So yeah, Beer
It
and
did.
Bloodstains. And it's cool because that song specifically is about kind of where we came from as a band, and how we did mesh with all of these different types of bands at these shows, these local shows we used to play. And then so it's almost ironic that you have a pop punk band writing a song that's heavy, that has this hard, it almost sounds like a hardcore band has written that part, and it's like a
Yeah.
different band, but that's kind of where we came from.
There's talking about because that's one of my questions I've got as well. I kind of got the sense that like even from Boom Roasted right the way through to Frankenstein Monster, I got the impression a number of the songs were autobiographical. I can never say it about yourselves.
Yeah.
Like so, I mean, Boom Roasted, I kind of got the impression was a little bit of like a view of the music scene.
Hmm.
Obviously, Medicine and Frankenstein's Monster, I think, is fairly self-explanatory. The songs, I mean, Miami gets mentioned in Medicine. Obviously, we mentioned Florida gets mentioned in Beer and Bloodstains. So, I mean, was it really people's diaries and inner thoughts just coming out there when you had these sessions?
Yeah, I mean, we're not necessarily a band that has always been very specific with our lyrical content. I think in the last few years we have become a little more specific with stuff. The stuff you talk about in Medicine, we thought it was cool to add it in there. And then actually a little Easter egg. I don't know if anybody can or will hear it, but you'll know now. In the second verse, talks about Ian's garage. And that was like a place that we would hang out at. And Ian actually is on the record. You hear him say, "What's up, bro?" And it's just like, those are the kind of fun things you did because, again, on at least on that song on Medicine, he does kind of mention what it was like growing up in Florida, and the
Mm.
journey that kind of where it's taken him. And Beer and Bloodstains is the same kind of thing. We had a whole bunch of our friends on that song, screaming the stuff in the background. But overall, we have always been a band where things have kind of been autobiographical. I think that's the word. Maybe
That's
I
not
don't
right.
know if I said it right. We've never wanted to be a band that is like, oh, let's make sure we write a song about politics because there's an election this year or something. It's like, no, if it's something that we always say our records are snapshots of what we've been going through for the last year, 2 years, or I guess in this case, almost 6 years
Yeah.
since the last record. And by doing that, I think people they realize kind of how genuine we are. And, it's not forced. And so people, I think, can identify with that a little better than a band that is like, oh, we have to be this type of band because we
Mm.
look this way or dress this way or we're trying to play to that crowd, right? And so, yeah, you'll get some varied lyrical content throughout the years, but overall, you're getting real stuff.
Yeah, nice. I noticed that last year you toured with The Offspring,
Yeah,
which now means out of those big three punk bands from when we were children, right? You've played with them all at one stage or another. Like, do you ever just like, do you have pinches? Do you still, even after the 11 albums and how many years, do you still have pinch me moments when that happens?
of course. This entire past, I mean, summer for us, I guess winter for you guys, that Offspring tour, I pinched myself multiple times a day because I'm just like, I can't believe this is happening, You're right. That was like the last. I mean, there's still some more other bands. I was just talking to the horn players from No Doubt, like, come on, let's do it. We played one show with them in our career. How sick would that be, right? Yeah, I mean, or I would like to let's go back with Blink 182 or Green Day. It's been 20 years. Can we do this again? But very fortunate for us that these are bands that like, definitely influenced us, if not musically, like if they were not there, we would not be here. And we've been able to play with them all. And they've all been so pleasant, so fun to be around, such kind of a good example of how to be a band. Yet they
Mm,
are some of the biggest bands in the world. You have these Green Days and Offsprings, and there's security, and there might be private jets, or they have their own wardrobe person with them, and these are things we couldn't even dream about. But yet they will take time to hang out with us, and they are very appreciative of what we do. They're very knowledgeable of what we do, and obviously, I think they understand what we bring to the show, and it makes us in turn want to play as best as we can and really help them out with what they were trying to put together with the tour.
yeah. I mean, moving from them sorts of punk bands to what's coming up next, you've got the tour with Yellowcard happening in May and June. And then
Mhm.
you already touched on it briefly that Australia's maybe quicker than 6 years. But what is the plan for the rest of the year for you guys?
Yeah, so we have that tour in May with Yellowcard, which we're obviously very excited about. We're starting to fill in the fall. We have announced a couple of Warp Tour dates in the U.S. with us. Try to do some other festivals and stuff, and then I think looking towards the end of the year and beginning of 27, this is let's go everywhere with this. And I don't
Mm,
know who it's going to be with. I don't know if it's going to be us or not. But yeah, we got a new record. We need to tour it. Ironically, we with the Yellow Card tour, it's technically not a headlining tour on this record. It's a support tour. When we did the Offspring tour, it's a support tour. And as much as I love those tours and I want to keep doing stuff like that because those are great big shows, we also need to do a headlining tour. And so maybe it's the headlining tour, which might not happen until the end of this year, beginning of next year. But maybe that headlining cycle has us go all around the world again. Part of that, we needed to get back out to these territories, including Australia. Luckily for us, we had good things that helped us do that. And I think the idea is you can do a good things, and then maybe you go back on your own, and then you go back to good things, and then that's what we did at least with Soundwave back in the day. You would do Soundwave, the
yeah.
next year you would do your own, then you would go to Soundwave, or maybe we get to support somebody. Maybe we have such a good time with Yellow Card, they're doing great down there right now. Maybe
Yes.
they're like next year, let's do it again with you guys. Who knows? I would love to see any of that stuff happen.
Well, fingers crossed. Well, I won't take any more of your time because I'm at my 15 minutes. Best of
Okay.
luck on not tomorrow, Friday, with the new album, the shows you've got, the rest of the tour, and hopefully we do see you back in Australia as soon as possible.
Yeah, you shall. I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Thanks very much. Tiana, all yours.